About 5 years ago, the Business Development Corporation and our investment partners and local elected officials came together to try to address a challenge that we had been faced with for years. We are residing in the two smallest counties, probably in the tri-state area. There is exponential growth in 5 industry clusters in our area: energy, chemicals, value-added metals, transportation, logistics, and healthcare. And what was happening and what we were witnessing was that a lot of these expansions that were occurring in our area and the businesses that were wanting to locate in our area within those industry clusters could not find space within Brooke or Hancock County to locate and grow here. And so we were missing out on these opportunities, and we knew that if we put together the right team, we could come up with a formula that we were confident that we could replicate and begin addressing the environmental contamination that has plagued our area, but at the same time create a real estate inventory that could begin systematically attracting private investment and accommodating expansion of existing industries in Brooke and Hancock County. The Taylor Smith and Taylor Pottery Factory was a site that actually was the catalyst for the initiative of the Business Development Corporation of the Northern Panhandle. What was intriguing about the factory is that it had been in disrepair, unkempt, for approximately 30 years. And there was a unique opportunity to create a collaborative team between multiple funding partners, creating approximately 14 different funding streams that primarily came from our county commissioners, the United States Environmental Protection Agency, the West Virginia Department of Environmental Protection, the Benedum Foundation, and the Business Development Corporation of the Northern Panhandle. And collectively, what we were able to do is acquire this site, remediate the site, and work with the governor's office to acquire a $2 million loan to actually build the first phase of the Rock Springs Business Park.
The process for the demolition wasn't very complicated, but it was tedious because of the handling of the asbestos and contaminations. But in that process, to get that done, we were able to see how the public could get involved and get their input into what they would like to have for the site after it was completed.
Probably one of the most unique components of that collaboration is the role that the community played in helping us not only drive the agenda and drive the mission, but also keep this particular site on the forefront of all of our funding partners to make them realize that collectively we would be able to acquire, get site control, and create an economic development opportunity whereby which we could take a site that had been abandoned for 30 years and right now leverage almost $3 million of public and private investment.
We were able to secure a loan to construct a 30,000 square foot building. And right now we're in the process of constructing that building. We started that in August of 2016, anticipating completion of that in December of 2016. And at the same time, we were able to secure a grant for the cleanup of the riverbank, and the start of the cleanup of the riverbank will begin in September of 2016 with the anticipation of cleanup and finish at November of 2016.
The former Wheeling Corrugating Steel Mill, located in Beach Bottom, was a very unique opportunity for the Business Development Corporation to do something that we had never done before, and that was actually work with a private investor to give us the financial means to buy an abandoned steel mill that was actually operating all the way up until we acquired this mill, and work with this investment partner to not only acquire the site, secure the site, but also repurpose and market the site.
It was a little easier to tackle, even though it was a larger facility, because we were not going to demo any of the building. We were going to renovate it so that it could be utilized for lease space, which we have done. And we're also in the process of getting remediation of small areas.
We were able to work with Hackman Capital out of Los Angeles to acquire this property for $4.3 million out of bankruptcy. And we've been able to leverage $15 million of private investment into this particular property to create what we now call the Beach Bottom Industrial Park. And this park currently has 7 industries in it. And we're also exploring opportunities for greater opportunities to locate gas power plants, chemical plants, metal fabricators, and a variety of the other industry clusters that have targeted the Northern Panhandle as a place to do business. BROOKE Glass in Wellsburg, West Virginia, is a very unique project. Unlike many of the other mills that we've been able to acquire over the past 5 years, BROOKE Glass is not on the main corridor, which is State Route 2. It's just off the beaten path. But what's made it a unique opportunity for us is that there was an opportunity for us to work with local city officials, the U.S. EPA, and also the Rithner family, who had owned the glass factory for decades, and at the same time work with the West Virginia Brownfields Assistance Center, the Benedum Foundation, and county officials, and also the West Virginia DEP to get this property into the volunteer remediation program with the state.
The process we are going through right now is preparing the necessary data to get bids on the demolition process, and we were able to secure a grant that enabled us to get a rendition of the plant and what it would look like after renovations.
What was really cool about this site, unlike some of the other factories that we purchased, it wasn't going to be a complete teardown, nor was it going to be a complete preservation project. There was some certain charming components of this particular building that were worthy and are worthy of preservation. And since it is woven into the fabric of the community, the neighborhoods, and the downtown, we wanted to make sure that we came up with some type of product that we knew would be attractive to a buyer and at the same time accommodate a business that could still be woven into the fabric of the community just as the architecture is. Every once in a while, the Business Development Corporation comes into possession of a building. Usually our wheelhouse includes properties that are anywhere from 10 acres to hundreds of acres, basically sites that could accommodate industry. But more recently, we've actually come to possess smaller buildings, even as small as 3,000 square feet, and one of those particular buildings was a former fire station. Since this particular piece of property was on one of the most heavily traveled corridors in the city of Weirton, we knew that there would be a bigger play there, a bigger opportunity. And we did not want to sell ourselves short by using this building to accommodate one of the typical auto-oriented uses that one would see generally on a heavily traveled commercial corridor.
We had a neighbor that was down the street, Domino's Pizza, that wanted to move, and they approached us and said, "How can you help us out?" We presented the facility to the Domino's ownership, and they liked it, and they said, "We would like to do a renovation of the facility."
And what you see there today is a building with lots of glass, great curb appeal, modern architecture in what we would typically call a Butler building, and it's just really been a great addition to not only the BDC's portfolio, but it's been a great addition to the community, and also a great example of how you could take a use that had not been historically contributing financially to the community and actually create employment opportunities and opportunities to expand the tax base. And we're really quite proud of what we've been able to do with that building.
We were able to secure these structures, get the necessary funding for the cleanup, and get these buildings that had been sitting for a period of time unused and not creating any type of economic impact into the communities or into the counties, and get those facilities back into productive use.
When we started this initiative 5 years ago, we probably only had $50,000 in our real estate inventory. And to date, we've been able to leverage the acquisition of these contaminated properties into $70 million of private investment on these contaminated properties that we have now also cleaned up. We've been able to create 1,200 jobs and at the same time create an inventory of properties that now puts us on a level playing field with other states to become one of the hottest markets in the country.